One of the features of this fourth industrial revolution is that it doesn't change what we are doing, but it changes us.
Surveillance, people could look back in 100 years and identify the coronavirus epidemic as the moment when a new regime of surveillance took over, especially surveillance under the skin, which I think is maybe the most important development of the 21st century. Surveillance under the skin, which I think is maybe the most important development of the 21st century, is this ability to hack human beings, to go under the skin, collect biometric data, analyze it, and understand people better than they understand themselves. This, I believe, is maybe the most important event of the 21st century. Now AI is likely to be able to do it. And once it can do that, it doesn't need to send killer robots to shoot us. It can get humans to pull the trigger if it really needs to. AI has just hacked the operating system of human civilization. What we are potentially talking about is nothing less than the end of human history. Now, not the end of history, just the end of the human-dominated part of what we call history.
When Elias Brotberger goes to work, he doesn't need ID. And he doesn't need money. In fact, much of what he needs to get through the day is hidden right there, just below the surface, in his hand.
Like to touch it?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, weird. Yeah, it's like a grain of rice.
Yeah, a grain of rice.
Embedded in his hand is a microchip that serves as his keys, his ID, and his wallet.
Yeah, it's all in chip, so I use it like to get around the building.
Buy snacks.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's buy some snacks.
Exactly.
So I can't open it.
No.
Okay.
So what I need to do is I need to first blip my chip, and it will log me in, and from there I get access to the fridge.
Popular TV shows like Black Mirror have imagined chips as part of a dystopian future.
Install in-grain procedure with local anesthetic and you're good to go.
In Sweden, the microchips are already here.
The microchip implants use the same technology that's in contactless credit cards,
which have made cash pretty much obsolete in Sweden.
No cash.
At this tech fair, a chipping event for those on the cutting edge, merging their hands with this new technology.
I thought it would be fun, right?
The process is simple and swift. A pinch of the skin, and in a matter of seconds, the chip is inserted. The transformation is complete. As for the pain,
I barely felt it.
But even in this nation of early adopters, not everyone is racing to get chipped.
Feel less human. I will feel like a robot.
I think, it's so much more data can go into this, when it's in your body.
There's no central registry tracking how many people are chipped, but biohacker Hannes Wellblood estimates between 5 and 10,000.
In the future, do you think everyone is going to be chipped?
I think it'll be voluntary, but I am certainly convinced that millions of people will find it very, very valuable to have a smart device under their skin.
Human microchipping may be our future, but in Sweden, it's already reality.
The difference of this fourth industrial revolution is it doesn't change what you are doing. It changes you. If you take genetic editing, just as an example, it's you who are changed. And of course, this has a big impact on your identity.
Yeah. And offers certain kinds of possibilities that have to be careful about. When you began to do that kind of gene editing, some people worry that you are changing what it means to be human.
That's the problem. Of course, the new industrial revolution offers us many opportunities
of brain-computer interfaces and biometric sensors and so forth. It is very likely that within, say, 50 years, people will literally be part of a network. All the bodies, all the brains would be connected together to a network, and you won't be able to survive if you're disconnected from the net, because your own body parts, your own immune system, perhaps depends on being constantly connected to the colony, to the network.
Pool accident in 2020 changed his whole life. paralyzing the 45-year-old from the mid-chest down until a medical breakthrough at Northwell Health's Feinstein Institute for Medical Research, where lead bioengineer Chad Boughton and his team developed a technology they call a double neural bypass. Chips are implanted in a patient's brain, and the signals for sensation and movement sent back and interpreted through artificial intelligence, and then redirected to the body and spine, creating a loop that could prove life-changing.
Taking someone who had lost the ability to move their limbs, to sense or touch things and actually feel the sensation of that, to restore those abilities to the patient.
Yes, that's exactly right. We have finally discovered that the signals in the brain are still there and strong even after a traumatic injury.
Other neurotechnology companies, like Elon Musk's Neuralink, have implanted chips in patients to assist functionality, but recovery and restoring damaged neurons appears to be new ground. We watched as Keith managed movements that only months ago would have been impossible.
That's actually sensory data.
From picking up a cup.
What are you feeling, Keith?
Like a jolt of energy.
To navigating a quick bite of Twizzlers.
Got it.
Wow. Last year, surgeons managed to place those chips in Keith's brain in areas that they spent months mapping out, leading to incremental improvements. And then, a watershed moment.
I'm ready.
When Keith actually felt his sister's palm for the first time since the accident.
That was an incredible moment, wasn't it?
The new powers that we are gaining now, especially the powers of biotechnology and artificial intelligence, are really going to transform us into gods.
This is the world's first commercial biological computer, running on living human cells. The CL1 computer is the brainchild of Melbourne-based Cortical Labs.
This is where the neurons would be embedded in.
CEO and founder Han-Wang Chong says it fuses cell-derived neurons with silicon, creating a new class of AI known as synthetic biological intelligence.
Unlike using artificial neural networks, we grow real biological neurons into networks onto computer chips.
It sounds like science fiction, but Han says the CL1 is capable of learning and adapting faster than standard silicon-based AI, while consuming significantly less energy.
We take blood or skin and we can transform them into stem cells, and from stem cells into brain cells or neurons that we then use them for compute and intelligence.
Han says the neurons grow on silicon chip with tiny electrical contacts connecting them to the digital hardware. And it's equipped with an artificial life support system to keep the cells healthy.
We have pumps like the heart, waste feeding reservoirs, filtration units like the kidneys, and we have a gas mixer to take carbon dioxide, oxygen, and nitrogen.
And health will win. Most people will be willing to give up their privacy in exchange for much better healthcare based on 24 hours monitoring of what's happening inside their bodies. I guess very soon people will walk around with biometric sensors on or even inside their bodies, and will allow Google or Facebook or the Chinese government or whoever to constantly monitor what's happening inside my body.
It automatically tells my legs to walk.
But because of the spinal cord injury, the signal is interrupted. So we are aiming to bypass the injury by having a direct digital connection between the brain and the region of the spinal cord that control leg movement.
To do that, Dr. Bloch implants a small titanium device originally developed by a French research institute in the patient's skull, directly over their motor cortex, the area of the brain responsible for controlling movement.
You see, you have the 64 electrodes.
And so each of these is what?
It's electrodes that are recording populations of neurons underneath, and you can immediately see which one are the best correlated to certain movements.
Like the hip is here, and then the knee is here, and then the ankle is here, etc.
When a patient thinks about moving a limb, those electrodes record the brain's activity. Then a computer uses artificial intelligence to translate the recordings into instructions for the stimulation device implanted on the spinal cord. That device sends electrical pulses, activating muscles in the legs or arms. All of it happens in about half a second. Gert-Jan Oskam was the first person to get the digital bridge 4 years ago after he was paralyzed in a bike accident. We met him for a walk by Lake Geneva.
So now the stimulation is on?
Now it's on, yes.
Do you feel it at all in your body?
I do feel a little tingling sensation from the stimulation with my brain.
His headpiece powers the implant in his skull, and on his walker is the computer. Marta got the digital bridge implanted in September. She's worked with a team of engineers and physical therapists to figure out how much electrical stimulation is needed to move her legs.
Nice. Yeah. And hop.
So that's the stimulation, the electrical stimulation is making the leg move.
Yeah, Marta is completely paralyzed.
This is the magic cappy.
But Marta has also had to teach herself to think about moving the exact same way every time.
Right.
So the AI can recognize her thoughts.
Left.
She practiced at first with this avatar.
Stop.
You have to relearn or rethink how to walk.
Exactly. So we were experimenting a little bit. What do I think about? Is it I think about the hip being contracted? Do I think about the knee lifting up? Do I think about the ankle?
To show us how she does that, they disconnected her skull implant from her spinal cord stimulator and connected it to this exoskeleton.
You can control this with your thoughts right now.
Yeah, if I want to do a right movement, right hip flexion, it does a right hip flexion.
You're not pressing any buttons or anything, you're just thinking,
Sure.
can you look at me without looking at it and just
Do a right one, yes.
Yeah.
I think it works.
Yeah, it does work.
After training with the digital bridge for just 2 days, Dr. Jocelyne Bloch and Gregoire Courtine, or G as Marta calls him, put her to the test, eager to see if she could take some steps. Using a harness to support about half her body weight and physical therapists to help place her feet on the ground, Marta took her first steps. Despite having no sensation below her waist, she was able to move her paralyzed legs with her thoughts.
Not everybody will be able to upgrade themselves, and not everybody will have access to or have control over the new big data algorithms. Of 8 billion people in the world, the vast majority will stay just ordinary Homo sapiens, and they are likely to lose their economic value, their political power, their control over their lives. And we are likely to see an extremely unequal society in which a very small elite, either of upgraded humans or of those humans who own the master algorithms, like the Google algorithm or the Facebook algorithm.
What makes this butterfly special is that it's controlled by a lab-grown mini-human brain.
This is a demo from a biocomputing company called Final Spark. They're using human brain cells to build computer hardware that you can access over the internet. This brain organoid is made of 10,000 neurons grown from human stem cells. AI is inspired by neural networks, but the biological ones are way more complex than the artificial neural networks of AI. Brain cells organize themselves into networks with electrical activity similar to a real developing brain. We can grow organoids that resemble specific brain areas. We can make them grow primitive eye-like structures that detect light, and we can mix and match to make Frankenstein organoids called assembloids. What happens if you take a hippocampus and give it a cerebellum? Let's find out. There's some evidence that lab-grown brain tissue can learn, to play Pong for instance, and there's an emerging industry that hopes it can learn a lot more than that.
In the century, you had totalitarian regime that monitored what people were doing, but they couldn't go under the skin and monitor what people were actually feeling and thinking. This was absolutely impossible. They didn't have the technology or the computing power to analyze all the data. Now, for the first time in history, it is becoming feasible to monitor everybody all the time, and not just what we do, but even what we feel. But soon, at least some corporations and governments will be able to systematically hack all the people. We humans should get used to the idea that we are no longer mysterious souls. We are now hackable animals.